Very good morning dear students. This video is for class 10th subject science chapter number 1 chemical reactions and equations, and this is revision assignment number 1 solution. So here in this assignment we are having 10 questions, and the first question is that what is a chemical reaction and why a chemical equation need to be balanced. So dear students, in the answer of this question we can write that the process in which the original substance loses their nature and identity to form a new chemical substance, these kind of processes are known as chemical reactions. And here the new substance formed is having totally different properties than that of reactants. For example, rusting of iron, burning of coal, cooking of food. All these are different types of chemical reactions, but here a new product with different chemical properties are formed. A chemical reaction can be characterized by change in state, change in color, change in temperature, or evolution of gas. For example, melting of wax can be taken as the example of change in state. Then we have change in color. As you might have seen that there is a change in color of turmeric stain on the clothes when it reacts with the soap. It turns brown. So there is a change in color. So this is also a type of chemical reaction. Then next is temperature. Like when you add quicklime to water, then heat is raised. Or you can say the container is having a higher temperature after the reaction. So there is change in temperature. Another can be when dilute hydrochloric acid reacts with zinc, it forms zinc chloride and hydrogen gas is evolved. The second part of first question and the second question, they are having a same answer, that why a chemical equation need to be balanced and on what basis a chemical equation is balanced. So dear students, the balancing of chemical equations is done on the basis of law of conservation of mass. As we all know that mass can never be created nor be destroyed. So if some reactants they are converting into products, then there must be the equivalence of mass on both the sides. So that is why we balance a chemical equation, so that we can check that whether the mass of the reactants is equal to the total mass of the products. Question number 3 is, how are the following indicated in a chemical equation? A. Evolution of gas, B. Formation of a precipitate, and C. Evolution of heat. So dear students, evolution of gas can be expressed in this way, that we make a upright arrow and we write gas. So these two things we can do. We can either make this sign with on the product side, or we can write the G in brackets, which will indicate that this is the gaseous product. B. Formation of precipitate. So precipitate is basically an insoluble product formed. So this can be either an arrow in downward direction, or we can also write S in brackets. So this will tell us that this is a solid substance formed in the reaction. Then evolution of heat. When evolution of heat is there, then it can be delta, because delta represents the heat. So either it can be written as delta H, or it can be written as plus heat. If we write this on the product side, that means there is an evolution of heat or some other kind of energy. Question number 4 says, why is respiration considered an exothermic reaction? So dear students, as we all know that energy which is required by us to support our lives is given by the food that we take in. So during digestion, what happens that large molecules of food, they are broken down in smaller compounds. Like one is glucose, and further this glucose, when it reacts with oxygen present in blood, it forms carbon dioxide, water and energy. So this is basically the reaction in which glucose is combining with the oxygen, forming simpler substances. So here combustion reaction is happening because oxygen is there to decompose this or to break this down. So that is why this combustion reaction is basically called exothermic reaction, because with the help of this reaction, production of energy is happening, and this energy we take to perform. This energy is that energy which we utilize to do various works, and this energy is also taken up by the cells to perform their various works. Question number 5 is, mention the factors which affect the rate of reaction. And the factors that affect the rate of reaction are temperature, concentration, catalyst and surface area provided for the chemical reactions. So when all these things, when all these conditions are reached, when we are having higher temperature, then the reaction will be faster. When we have the higher concentration, then also the reaction will proceed at a faster rate. The presence of a catalyst also tries to fasten a reaction, and the surface area. Larger the surface area, more will be the reaction taking place. So all these are the factors that affect the rate of reaction. Question number 6 is, write a chemical reaction when quicklime is added to water. So quicklime, that is CaO, calcium oxide, is in solid form. When this is added to water, H2O, which is in liquid state, then this gives us calcium hydroxide, CaOH whole twice, and heat is evolved in this reaction. So this heat, as you can see, I have written as plus heat. That means evolution of heat is happening, or this heat will raise the temperature of the container in which calcium hydroxide will be present. Question number 7 is, write balanced chemical equation for the following chemical reactions. A. Aqueous solution of sulfuric acid. So H2SO4 and sodium hydroxide, NaOH, reacts to form aqueous sodium sulfate. So this would be Na2SO4 plus H2O. So now let us see the reaction. So the reaction will be H2SO4 plus NaOH gives us Na2SO4 plus H2O, but this seems to be an unbalanced reaction. As you can see that the sulfur is balanced, oxygen is balanced, hydrogen is also balanced. Sorry, oxygen is not balanced, but sodium is also not balanced. So let us try to balance this. If you multiply 2, just a hit and trial method, so sodium becomes 2. Here also we are having 4 and 2 oxygen. So here also we'll have 6 oxygens, and here we have 4, and if we multiply 2, then we'll have 6. So now this equation is balanced. Second is, phosphorus burns in chlorine gas to form phosphorus pentachloride. So phosphorus pentachloride, PCl5, is formed. So we have phosphorus chlorine gas and they react to form PCl5. But the reaction is not balanced, as here we have 4 phosphorus, here just 1, here chlorine are 2, and here we have the 5 chlorines. So what we are going to do, that if we have to balance the phosphorus, we multiply here 4. So phosphorus is balanced now. Here now we have 20 chlorines. So if we write 10 here, then it will balance. It will become a balanced chemical equation. Question number 8 is, we have to balance certain equations. Part A is H2SO4 aqueous plus NaOH, that is sulfuric acid plus sodium hydroxide gives us sodium sulfate and water. So here you can see that how, in one reaction I will tell you how to balance a chemical reaction. So here we have to see how many number of elements are present. So here we have hydrogen, sulfur, oxygen, sodium, and nothing else is different. So on both the sides we have both the things. So we have hydrogen, sulfur, oxygen and sodium. On the reactant side we have 3 hydrogen, 1 sulfur, 5 oxygen and 1 sodium. On the product side we have 2 hydrogen, 1 sulfur, 5 oxygen and 2 sodium. So only we have to balance the hydrogen and sodium. So let us begin with the sodium first. So if we are trying to balance the sodium, then directly we will have to multiply 2 here, because here we have 2. So when we multiply 2, then the next will become that we have oxygen 6 now. So on the reactant side the oxygen will become 6. Hydrogen will become 2 and 2, 4. So what we are going to do, we have to balance them as well. So let us do this. Now, is it balanced? Because here we are 4 and 2, 6. Here also we have 6 hydrogen, oxygen, and here we have 4 hydrogen. Yes. So it becomes balanced now. So the equation will become balanced when we write 2 in front of NaOH and 2 in front of H2O, which is liquid. B is barium hydroxide plus hydrogen bromide gives us barium bromide and water. So here the same thing is happening. We'll have to follow the same procedure, that here barium is 1, bromine is 1 here. Here we have 2. So let us just fix this first. Now what about the hydrogen and oxygen? That here we have 4 hydrogen and 2 oxygens. And at this side we have 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. So we'll have to multiply 2. So now this equation is balanced. C is KCN, that is potassium cyanide, is in aqueous state. H2SO4 sulfuric acid gives us potassium sulfate and hydrogen cyanide. So here we have 1 potassium, here we have 2. So what we are going to do, first we'll multiply it by 2. Although you can start doing it with the compound which is having maximum number of atoms. So you can start with this as well. But if we are doing this, so Cn is 1. Here we have 2 Cn. So let us balance this also. Now what is going to happen, that here 2 hydrogens are increased. Here hydrogen is 2. Here also we have 2 hydrogen. And this is now balanced. Here in part D, we have aluminium in solid form reacting with hydrochloric acid gives us aluminium chloride and hydrogen gas. So here we have 2 hydrogen and here we have 1. So let us multiply it with, we cannot multiply it directly by 2 because here we have Cl3. So what we are going to do? that let us multiply it with, because here we want it to be 3, but if we are multiplying it with 3, then hydrogen will become thin and it will be impossible to balance it. So let us make it double. So when we are doing this, so we can do one thing here. As we are having 6 hydrogens in this side, then we can multiply it with 3. So now it will become 6. This is also balanced. If we write 2 here, and let us write 2 as well. So this is also balanced now. Part E. CH4 methane gas burns in the presence of oxygen, gives us carbon dioxide gas and water vapors. So here what is happening, that at this side we have 3 oxygen, here we have just 2. So let us make it more. Now oxygen is balanced, CH4, that is also balanced. Now equation is balanced. So this is how we do the balancing in the equations. Then the next question is that is it advisable to store ferrous sulfate in zinc container? If not, why? So the answer to this question is that no, it is not advisable to keep ferrous sulfate solution in zinc container, because we know according to the reactivity series, zinc is more reactive than iron. So when we keep FeSO4 solution, that is in aqueous state, if we keep this in zinc container, then zinc being more reactive, this will displace iron from its solution. So this will be a displacement reaction in which one element will displace the less reactive element of the compound, and that forms a solution. So zinc sulfate is formed and iron is getting displaced. So that is why it is not advisable to keep the ferrous sulfate solution in zinc container. 10th question is translate the following equations and then balance them. The first is potassium bromide, that is KBr, aqueous state, barium iodide, Bal2, aqueous, gives us potassium iodide, Ki, plus barium bromide, BaBr2. So for the balancing, I multiplied 2. You can also check it for balancing. Second is, that is B, zinc carbonate, ZnCO3 in solid form. On heating, this symbol shows on heating, it gives zinc oxide, ZnO in solid form, and carbon dioxide in gaseous form. So this will be the equation for it. Third is hydrogen, H2 gas, chlorine, Cl2 gas, gives us hydrogen chloride, HCl. So for balancing, I have multiplied 2 here, and this is gas. Then D part is magnesium, that is Mg, magnesium hydrochloric acid, HCl aqueous, gives us magnesium chloride and hydrogen. So it is giving us MgCl2 aqueous and hydrogen gases evolved in the reaction. So this was all about the assignment solutions of chapter number 1, revision assignment number 1. So dear students, all these equations which we have translated or balanced, or we have wrote the equations from the word equation form, that you are going to classify in the next chapter, in the next revision assignment, that which kind of reactions these reactions are. So be prepared for it. All the best and bye-bye.